And we're back after a brief break. You're watching South Texas Crossfire. It is election time. Early voting begins very quickly. Regístrese a votar. Si no vota, no pueden quejar después. Su voto es su voz, como han dicho. Y como decía Lloyd Benson, cuando todos votamos, todos ganamos. So when we vote, we all win. And we are asking everybody to please come out. My brothers and sisters on the west side, in Robstown, Cal Allen, Toloso, Jim Wells County, Clayburgh, San Pat, all the area, 80-mile radius within my voice and in my image. Please come and get out there and vote. We've got a great candidate that's running, that's already a judge, that's running now, and she was the prosecutor for County Court at Law number 5, which is the Juvenile Justice Center, and her name is Melissa Madrigal. We're bringing her on. Welcome, Judge. How are you?
Good, great.
Well, let's jump in there feet first. Yours is not an easy race. Let me tell you, you had a hotly contested Democratic primary.
That's correct.
Against Miss Huerta Quintanilla.
Yeah.
You know, it was freezing that day, election day. I remember we went out there and we said, well, let's not go out to the polls. This is South Texas. Let's go to the taquerias and find the voters.
Yeah.
So we went out there, and congratulations.
Thank you.
I know that you're going against, in a non-presidential cycle, your opponent is a Republican.
Yes.
And we've talked about this before. But explain to the voters your background, education, about your family, where you went to school, all that good stuff.
Okay. Well, Joe, I graduated from WBA High School. And I graduated from Del Mar. I went to school locally. I had to put myself through school. I worked for the Walmart Corporation full-time, and I went to school full-time. Ultimately, I graduated from Texas A&M Corpus Christi, and then I was accepted into South Texas College of Law, one of the best law schools in Houston.
My school.
Exactly. And when I was at South Texas, as a third-year law student, I got my third-year bar card, and I worked for the Harris County DA's office as in the Family Criminal Law Division. And that was the best experience I ever had. They had 225 DAs when I worked there. And it was neat. I was needed back home, so I came back home, and my first job was actually in County Court 5.
With Judge Lewis?
With Judge Lewis was my mentor judge. There's been several judges after that I've learned a lot from, but he was the primary. I was there from 1999 until 2005 on a daily basis, not occasionally, not once a week, 8-10 hours a day, every day. And handled every type of juvenile case that you can speak of: murders, sexual assaults, aggravated robberies, and it's that day-to-day experience in that court that prepared me to run for County Court 5 now.
Well, and let's interject a little bit of politics in there.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, not on the Democratic side, we're seeing crossover vote more so on the Democratic side, on the Republican side, which are voting palanca, straight ticket. You to overcome that, I think a lot of conservatives like law and order. That's why they embrace somebody like Carlos Valdez, somebody like yourself that sets bonds on family and domestic violence, is not afraid to set high bonds.
The juvenile law, it's also a CPS court and probate, and guardianships and JP appeals. But the majority is going to be juvenile cases and CPS cases. And, I know I've spoken to a lot of people. I have crossover in the Republican Party, thank goodness. They're willing to cross over based on my experience. And not only that, it's being a prosecutor. My opponent was never a prosecutor, has never appeared before the grand jury. It takes somebody that understands that the delicate balance between rehabilitation of a juvenile and protecting the public safety. And I'm all about protecting the public safety. We need to rehabilitate those kids that are committing offenses that regular teens do. But if you're committing murders, if you're sexual assaults or aggravated robberies, putting people at risk, well, then certainly protection of the public is going to be foremost.
Well, and one of the reasons, and I remember a couple of years back, and I'll go on record here, I stopped practicing there, was that the way that things were handled in that court. Mm-hmm. And, on the backs of children, I think that you've said it and I've said it, that I think saving money for the taxpayer and not investing enough in our kids. Well, and even leaders like Joey Gonzalez, who's a commissioner, has said you invest a couple of thousand. You save in education, prevention. You save 40,000 in 3 hots and a cot in prison every year after that. I mean, we incarcerate 25% of the world's population, and we want to contribute to it. So, I mean, how do you respond to that?
I think it's important to rehabilitate those kids that we can. It takes that experience in that court to be able to discern that, to make a decision. There's kids that are going to make regular teenage mistakes. They're going to go into court, and we're going to do our best to try to rehabilitate them. But if you have other kids, and this is the term I learned from Judge Lewis, you have to learn the difference between a knucklehead and a criminal.
I remember him saying knucklehead.
The knucklehead, hey, they're teenagers. They're going to make mistakes, and we're going to try to help them through these hard times, through their teenage years. Criminals, they're going to hurt people, and they're going to put the public in danger, and that's what we need to know the difference. And it's the experience as a prosecutor that has brought me that. This court, I've seen my opponent's commercial. This isn't a family court. This is a court that deals with some of the worst crimes. We had the lady that was killed down the street on Tonkawa. We have other kids that have committed murders, sexual assaults. You used to practice there. There's some very serious cases. These are cases where the judge needs to step in and make hard decisions. And because I've already been a judge since 2005, I have the experience in making those hard decisions. And that's what I plan to do. We're going to work with the kids we can, but if somebody's not willing to rehabilitate themselves, then we have to take another step. Okay? I don't plan on lowering the bar of expectations in Court 5. I plan to raise it. I plan to appoint attorneys so that we don't, you're right, you hit the nail on the head. We're not going to try to save money on the backs of families and on children. Okay? They need to be represented and make sure their rights are protected in order to avail ourselves of the entire, the things that we have, the tools that we have, and to be fair about it.
Well, and let's go from the left side of the spectrum, centrist, to the right side. I think everybody can agree on one issue that just grates on everybody is graffiti. Yeah. And a lot of people have told me to ask you this question: why on earth can we not get the offender who did the graffiti, instead of having the city that we're paying for having to go out there and scrub it, or me scrub over there where they did graffiti on my property? Why can't we have the children out there, quote unquote children, 16, 17-year-olds, doing that all day long?
And we can. We can have the offenders. The juvenile department has their own community service area. Mr. Paul Flores runs that. And if we do an order that we specifically order them to participate in graffiti cleanup, that's what they will do. And I think that's a perfect idea. What better person? Look, you caused this damage to this property owner. You need to go there and clean it. Not only there, but anybody else that's doing it.
And apologize.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. And apologize. And offer that community service. The standard over there is 40 hours community service. Hey, you need to be doing that every week. And instead of tagging somebody's property, you need to be cleaning up what's going on.
With a toothbrush, So we got about 3 minutes left. The floor is yours. What do you want to tell the voters? What are the important issues? What makes you passionate? Especially, we know you have your base, right? But sometimes in the Democratic Party, we don't know who's Shiite and Sunni. You know what I mean? So every vote counts. But also the base there, a lot of people say, oh, don't even go to Port Aransas. Don't go in certain parts of Ocean Drive. Those are just going to be pull the lever Republican. But are you finding that true as you're block walking?
I don't find that's true. And during block walking and also attending so many events at different houses and different people, meeting different people, I'm finding that that's not true. They want to meet the person. They want to talk about your experience. It's no accident and not a coincidence that I've been endorsed not only by the Corpus Christi Police Officers Association, the Nueces County Sheriff's Officers Association, the Caller Times, and the Labor Council, as well as the American Federation of Teachers, is because I able to when I speak to people, make them understand that we're not going to lower the bar. We're going to raise the bar of expectations for kids. You have to meet this bar. We're not going to make our society better by lowering the expectations of what we expect you to do. Okay. There's been and the reason I'm running for this office is because not only juvenile, but there's child protective services. We have parents that we need to hold accountable. If a child is injured, if a child is hurt, and the parent's not willing to change their life and to attend follow the service plan that's dictated to them, we can't have these kids at risk. As young as you work cases, days old all the way up to 16, 17, 18. We need to protect our families, and we need to make sure that it's done correctly by somebody that has experience and that somebody has lived in this community and knows what is happening in our with our families.
Well, and if people want to get involved, yard sign, we're talking about block walking. We're down to the wire. We're going to play this even election day. What's the magic number to call to get in touch with you?
You can always reach me. My number is 361-816-6315. You know, early voting starts Monday, October 20th, and it runs all the way to October 31st, 2014, and election day is November 4th, that Tuesday.
And Facebook, if they want to friend you and then follow your campaign there.
They sure can. It's Mel Madrigal at facebook.com.
All right. And we've got a couple of seconds here. We just want to remind everybody to get out there and vote. You heard her. Early voting. Get out there because sometimes election day, weather interferes with things. Seniors, get out there and get a ride or call. You have people out there that are helping. Maybe give a ride to somebody.
We're focusing on that. We're gonna go to all the neighborhoods, the precincts, and offer rides. There's a lot of people that are already volunteered, and that's what they do. They go and say, "Do you need a ride? We'll transport you," and that's what we need to do to get the people out.
Yeah, we need to get out the vote because traditionally the West Side and all these people, there are already barriers to voting and a lot of that. And it's not whining, it's reality. Seniors have a hard time getting out there to vote. And, so we want to thank you for stopping by. You've been a friend and colleague for a very long time. You showed me the ropes in Court 5 when I practiced out there. Yeah. Maybe you'll see me out there again. And Melissa Madrigal asking for your vote. County Court at Law, number 5, Juvenile Justice, Melissa Madrigal. And you heard it, 816-6315. That's 816-6315. Get out there and vote. Give her a call if you want to join her campaign. Melissa Madrigal asking for your vote from Republicans, Democrats, Independents, Libertarians. We'll be right back.